What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Melvin Lopez, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the vacant IBF Bantamweight World Championship, and this fight is going to be Saturday, August 12th from the MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on Showtime. And to get both fighters' resumes, Emmanuel Rodriguez, fighting out of Puerto Rico, holds a record of 21 wins, 2 defeats, and 13 wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked number 2 by BoxRec in the bantamweight division at this point, and he's also the former IBF bantamweight champion of the world. So going into this fight, he's looking to become a 2-time IBF bantamweight champ. And to get into his resume, I mean, he's lost to Raymar Gaballo by split decision, and I thought that was a robbery. I thought Rodriguez won that fight clearly. And then his other loss came by brutal early knockout to Naoya Inoue. And there's no shame in that loss. I mean, Inoue is one of the best fighters in the world. And, I mean, going into that fight, he kind of deserved that loss because I believe someone on his team was, pressing Inoue's dad, unless there was another guy. But I'm pretty sure that was his team. And then Rodriguez paid for his consequences and got stopped easily. But to list some of his best victories, I mean, Rodriguez, he has a very, very good resume. He has 3 wins over some top 10 talent in the bantamweight division. He's in his last fight, in his rematch over in Brooklyn, New York, when he fought Gary Antonio Russell. He won by technical decision easily. He was arguably up, winning every single round in that fight. It went 10 rounds up until the technical decision, and he dropped Russell as well, so a very good win there. He also has a split decision victory over Jason Maloney and a unanimous decision victory over Paul Butler. So all 3 of those wins are against some top-tier talent in the bantamweight division, and that definitely gets him his top 3 ranking spot right now in the bantamweight division and this world title shot. But again, his opponent's resume, Melvin Lopez, fighting out of Nicaragua. He holds a record of 29 wins, 1 loss, with 19 wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked number 67 by BoxRec in the bantamweight division, so a big gap there between these two, definitely showing the class difference between these two. I know Melvin Lopez has a better record on paper than Rodriguez, but Rodriguez has fought some of the best fighters in the world at 118, so I mean, that's why there's a 65-spot difference between these two. But to list his one and only defeat and his best victories, he has lost by TKO to former Super Bantamweight World Title challenger Jose Velasquez. He got dropped twice in that fight and lost pretty easily in those later rounds. Got stopped late in that one. And to list some of his best victories, I mean, he really only has wins over guys who were outside of the top 30, outside of the top 50. He's defeated Gilbert Alvarez by split decision, and he does have a knockout victory over Victor Ruiz. So, in my opinion, this fight should be a good showcase for Emmanuel Rodriguez. There's a vacant title on the line here. I think this should be a pretty easy win for Rodriguez. I think it will go some rounds, but I think Rodriguez will be up pretty easily in this fight. I don't really see Melvin Lopez having much success in this one. And I think Rodriguez is just a much more experienced fighter at the top level, and just much better. And just to break this fight down round by round, and just to get straight into it, I mean, I think the earlier rounds will be the most competitive rounds of this fight. From watching Melvin Lopez, I know that he has a very solid jab. He likes to jab a lot, and I'm pretty sure he's a southpaw, if I'm not mistaken. But he likes to jab at mid-range, keep a decent distance from his opponents. I've also seen that he likes to counterpunch a bit, and fight on the outside slightly. I mean, it's not obviously different fighters in boxing like Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney who like to box pretty frequently on the outside. I mean, Melvin Lopez will jab, move around a bit, jab. I mean, his footwork isn't that great. Obviously not like those 2 guys I just mentioned, but yeah, he likes to counter a bit at mid-range. And as for Emmanuel Rodriguez, he's a very good counterpuncher, and I've seen him fight before going forward, and I've seen him fight before on the back foot. I mean, he could fight both ways. Very versatile fighter. When he fought Gary Antonio Russell, he was off the back foot, countering Russell while he was on sort of the defensive, using some head movement, getting out of the way of punches, countering. I mean, it was a pretty masterful performance by him in that one. But like I said, he could fight both ways. And then when he fought Paul Butler, he was sort of coming forward a bit and countering Butler going forward. When he goes forward, it's not like any other fighters pressure fighting, where like a Isaac Cruz who just goes forward and bum rushes his opponents. But in terms of Rodriguez, he likes to put pressure on his opponents, but he also likes to fight technical, which is a big part of his game plan. He likes to use head movement, counter his opponents while they're off the back foot, sort of thinking like, what am I going to do at this point? Whilst Rodriguez is going forward, throwing counter punches at them, pressuring them with that distance. He's a very, very good fighter, very versatile as well. So in terms of how this fight's going to go round by round, I think after 3 rounds in this fight, the earlier rounds, it's going to be sort of somewhat like feel-out rounds. I think Melvin Lopez might be able to take one of them based off of just landing the jab frequently. And I think after 3, it should be like 29-28 in Rodriguez's favor. But I think how Rodriguez will fight early, I think he will be a bit more, I guess you could say, cautious, not throwing as much. I mean, obviously for Rodriguez, he doesn't want to get caught with a big punch early, but I don't think he's going to be necessarily going forward that frequently over Lopez. I think the first 3 rounds will be pretty slow in this one. I think they'll be both kind of fighting technical a bit at mid-range and kind of on the outside a bit. We might be able to see Rodriguez go forward in spurts, but I think primarily the fight will be fought kind of slowly in the first 3 rounds, but I think Rodriguez should be ahead. But going into like rounds 4 through 6, I think Rodriguez will start to pick up on the gas pedal, start to go forward a bit, start to really fight like how I mentioned before, where he likes to go forward a bit, throw combinations on his opponents, use head movement and fight technically going forward and fighting at mid-range a bit. So I think that's what he's going to do somewhat in those middle rounds, unless Lopez wants to go forward in this fight, which, I mean, I don't know if it will be the smartest decision by him. But if he does, he will be facing a lot of counter right hooks to the head. But I think that in the start of those middle rounds, Rodriguez will be a bit more aggressive, be a bit more active, and I think he will win those rounds clearly. And after 6 rounds, I think it will probably be like 59-55 in Rodriguez's favor. And then going into the second half, I think that Rodriguez will start to land heavier on Melvin Lopez. And I think that he will really start to hurt Lopez, start to break him down a bit, just like Jose Velasquez did. It was a somewhat decent fight going up to the stoppage, pretty competitive fight. And then Velasquez just hit him enough that he just broke down. And that's one thing with Melvin Lopez. He lacks experience, and I think if you hit him enough, he's going to get broken down and get stopped. So I think that's what's going to happen here. At the start of that second half, Lopez will be absorbing a lot of punishments, specifically some nice counters from Rodriguez. And I think Rodriguez, anywhere from the start of those middle to later rounds, like from round 7 through 10, I think that Rodriguez will get a stoppage victory. And I think he will be up pretty clearly if it gets stopped anywhere after that. Anywhere between round 7 through 10, I think Rodriguez will be winning almost every single round. I think at most in this fight entirely, Lopez should be winning like 1 to 2 rounds. That's really it in my opinion. But I think that Melvin Lopez could get stopped with one brutal shot, get dropped, get stopped standing. In the end, I think it will be a KO or TKO win for Emmanuel Rodriguez. So if you made it this far in the video, comment down below your thoughts and who you think is going to win. I obviously think Rodriguez is going to get the job done. Like I said before, leave a comment, leave a like on this video, and hit the subscribe button. It will be much, much appreciated. So overall, I believe that Emmanuel Rodriguez will become a 2-time IBF bantamweight champion of the world, as I think he will defeat Melvin Lopez by a stoppage anywhere between rounds 7, 8, 9, and 10. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.